Could everyone please stand and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda this evening is approval of minutes, May 4th, 2022. Can everyone vote on that?
Yep.
What is the board's pleasure?
Make a motion, the board waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as provided for May 4th, 2022.
Motion by Rick, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Public comment, anyone in the audience who would like to address the board with an item that is not on this evening's agenda? Seeing none, we move on. Old business, facility use request, Greylock Glen, the last meeting, I believe. This was tabled. We will have to take this off the table. And it is Rick and Christine did the second.
I'll make a motion that we take the facility use request for the Greylock Glen for the Roadrunners Club of America off the table.
Motion by Rick. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine. Discussion. So what has changed here? Or what is new? Or
The only issue with this was the use of the Greylock Glen, and at the time that this was submitted, we weren't exactly sure what the construction schedule would be at the Glen. So Donna is simply just recommending that the organizers of the event check in shortly before the event to take place for further instructions, but just a general condition be to stay away from the construction areas, if any. The mobilization date and groundbreaking date is in flex still, but they are starting to mobilize some equipment up there.
is there anyone in the audience who's representing this request? Just want to make sure if they wanted to address the board. What is the board's pleasure?
Make a motion, we approve the facility use request for the Greylock Glen for the Roadrunners Club of America on, should have a little more prepared, on June 19th from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, we have a motion by Rick. Do we have a second?
I will second it.
Second by Christine. Any discussion?
Just a question, if we could amend the motion to include, to be in contact with the town administrator's office as they get closer to the event, just for the construction purposes.
Okay, so amended.
Okay.
And I'll second the amended motion.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none, unanimous decision. Anything else on the roll of business? Moving on to new business, ratification of per diem council on aging van driver. Sarah's here. I do have a letter which I'll read from Sarah to Jay. Subject to Board of Selectmen's ratification, we'd like to recommend Savoy resident Charles Chuck, Gebauer, thank you, be appointed as per diem van driver at the Adams Council on Aging starting on or around Thursday, May 19th, 2022. The position is available thanks to the shared COA services partnership between the towns of Adams and Savoy. The plan is to have a COA van driver available to Savoy residents on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. for transportation for medical appointments, shopping, social events, and programs in Adams, North Adams, and Williamstown. The goal is to have this van service available by the end of June, pending successful completion of state-mandated driver trainings. Chuck had previously been a per diem van driver for the Adams COA prior to the COVID pandemic, and we are very excited to welcome him back to our team at the Adams Council of Aging. Respectfully, Sarah B. Fontaine. Jay, anything to add before we,
No, just Chuck will come on as a grade 5, step 1, consistent with the other per diem van drivers at an hourly rate of $17.31 per hour.
okay,
We're happy to have Chuck. It's been hard recruiting per diem van drivers and bringing on Savoy. You know, we have the equipment, we've got Sarah's management now, so we just need the folks to drive for us.
appears to be a good choice. Anything to add, Sarah? Are you good?
Nope, my letter stated it all, unless you all have questions.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to ratify the appointment of Charles Gebauer to the per diem Counts on Aging van driver position at the grade 5, step 1 rate of $17.31 per hour.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rick. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous. Next, under new business, we have the longest day, June 21st, 2022, ribbons and balloons. Sarah?
All right. So the longest day is the day with most light, the summer solstice. On June 21st, thousands of participants from across the world come together to fight the darkness of Alzheimer's disease through an activity of their choice. Together, they use their creativity and passion to raise funds and awareness for the care, support, and research efforts of the Alzheimer's Association. On the longest day, the Adams Council on Aging will be raising awareness of Alzheimer's and related dementias and showing our support for those affected by it. June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and purple is the official color of the Alzheimer's movement. We ask that purple ribbons and balloons be placed at town buildings and encourage folks to wear purple to show your support. We'll be hosting events at the Council on Aging throughout the longest day for those who have been diagnosed and their dedicated caregivers. Programs include yoga and exercise classes, drumming workshop, live music, lunch, crafts, and more. And we hope that folks will come on down and join us.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions from the board? Jay, you good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Next on the agenda is approval of Council on Aging Formula Grant. Again, Sarah?
Keeping you busy tonight. So due to my ignorance on the subject, the contract for the state formula grant for the Executive Office of Elder Services should have been forwarded to the Town Administrator's Office by myself a couple of months ago. I was at a conference recently and said, why haven't I gotten my state formula grant money? And I said, well, have you signed and returned the contract yet? And so my light bulb went off. So I found the contract for the town of Adams, had them update the contract manager from the former director to myself, and it needs to be forwarded to the authorized signature from the town representative. So I wasn't sure if that was the town administrator or the select board chair, so I had asked Deb to add it to the agenda for tonight. So it's a 10-year contract through the State Executive Office of Elder Affairs to allow them to provide us with our state formula grant funding for, this is the FY 2022 contract, and it's good for 10 years. They provide us, forget the exact rate per senior, but for Adams for FY 2022, it is based on the 2010 census data, 2,180 seniors, so we will be awarded $26,160 for FY 2022. Does anybody have any questions?
You mentioned this is a 10-year grant proposal here. So what happens, when will they start using the 2020 census?
The hopes is by 2023.
2023. And that will go down, but not by much, I don't think.
No, the price per person, I believe, will go up, but our numbers of seniors may go down depending on what our 2020 census numbers were.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
What is the age to be considered a senior?
In Massachusetts, 60 and older.
I'll be there soon.
Not that soon.
Not that soon, but soon. Okay, so I guess if the chair is going to sign it off.
Mr. Chairman, there's someone in the back with their hand up.
Oh, yes. Could you please come up to the podium and state your name? Sorry about that, but.
Gail Sellers.
Hi, Gail.
So my question was, the numbers that you base the grant on, are those the seniors that actually go and check in and that kind of thing? Or does it count all the seniors in Adams?
It counts all the seniors in Adams per the 2010 census.
All right, that was my question.
That was a good question. Do we have to vote on this? No, we don't, right? This is-
No.
Signature is put on this, okay.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board? Okay.
Right.
I think we're good. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Okay, next is a one-day entertainment license application. Gail Sellers, Berkshire Mountains Ferry Festival, Old Field, Saturday, June 18th, 2022, from 11 to 9.
It's 10, it's supposed to be 10 to 9.
Okay, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. to
Yeah.
9 p.m.?
Yeah. I believe everything we need has been submitted, but I'd like to just say a few words about the Ferry Festival.
Go ahead.
It is back. After the demise of our director in 2020, it was 2020 we didn't have it, 2021 we didn't have it, and because of Deirdre Sullivan, our queen, she was determined to make this happen this year, and especially as a homage to Phil Sellers, our previous director. And I have not been super involved, and I'm going to share personally here a little bit because I've been kind of under the radar after I lost my husband and partner. And Phil came to me about a month ago in a dream, and I think he said, translated, "You got to get involved." And the thing that I would be involved in made the most sense to me was our baby, the Ferry Festival. So I jumped in the middle of April. So I have been working madly to pick up some of the slack because people were not as tuned into all the things that needed to be done. So advertising's just started. We realized we needed a permit. That's something we haven't had before. And so we've had some challenges that way, but we're moving forward. We've got some younger people involved. We've got some people who are more theatrical, I'll say. So that's really exciting. So I'm hoping that this is going to be the catalyst. Phil always said that between 3 and 5 years would be the test for its longevity. And so this will be our 5th year. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a very successful year. And the signs are starting to be put out. Joe, I know you said you'd take a sign on the corner there, and I have one out there for you. I don't know if there's any questions I have to answer.
Any questions from the board? Christine?
I just had a clarifying question. So, Gail, you had corrected us on the start time, and then I looked at the flyer, and it says it ends at 10 p.m. So
Right.
should we do the permit from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. instead
Yeah.
of 10 to 9?
It would probably be, yeah, because what happened was when I came back in, we didn't have any flyers out or posters. So I called Keith Bowen and said, okay, just change the date. He said, anything else? And I think, well, he changed the year. I think the year's on it. But
Yeah.
pretty much most of the stuff was okay, except the times, and they were still fluctuating with that. We have Ravens Firecraft coming in, and they're there during the day, and they give demonstrations. But it's really cool to see them at night. And of course, it's very close to the 2021, the solstice, so it doesn't get dark until going on 9 o'clock. So usually it ends and people are all off the grounds by 10.
Thank you.
If I could be reminded, is the festival, they have the First Aggie group, not First Aggie, the agricultural group, are they notified of this? Because there's a lease on that land. How's this work? We haven't done this in a while. couple
It's not
years.
ours, it's Bofield, it's under the Agricultural Fair Group, and I
Right,
believe
and-
Gail's worked with them.
And you've worked with them, Gail?
Chuck Felix, yeah, has been
Right.
involved, so right along, we've been working with him.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Well, I'll just make a quick comment. I know Phil put his heart and soul in that, and it's very successful. I was quite surprised, and it allows children to reach a dream to become either a princess or a little boy to be a prince, and they really take it seriously. And from what I've seen from that event, the kids really love it, and the parents go right along with them. A lot of them come dressed themselves as a fairy or something to do with that type of undertaking.
I appreciate those comments. When we named it, it was called the Berkshire Mountains with an S, because the mountain range runs all of Berkshire County. And the idea was to make it not just Adams' event, but Adams local, regional, and I think regional like New England, and maybe even national. We had people from, Illinois, because we're a tourist place. People are coming in and they're looking for things to do. And Herman Melville wrote in one of his pieces that there were ferries on Mount Greylock. And our backstory was that, this was a humming mill town and very prosperous. And then there was a demise to some degree and a transition. So the ferries are coming off the mountain to bring prosperity to Adams. So it's the Berkshire Mountains Ferry Festival, a whimsical fantasy celebrating the arts. And all of you know how the arts have taken off in this region in the last 10 to 20 years. And so it's kind of exciting to see that. And now suddenly we're engaging young people who are in arts management coming out of MCLA, and they're willing to dress up as fairy ambassadors and attend libraries if we need to. Now this year we got a little slow start. I do have our bookmarks, and I have to tell you, as a marketing thing, what we did is, we know that this is a very challenged area, and we're going to advertise all over. And the admission is $10, but with this, you get $2 off per person. And so we distribute this locally by hand into businesses, libraries, our local schools, so our local students and parents get to have these off. And I am going to pass out to each of you two that you might forward them on or talk about it. I was talking to one of our business owners, and I asked secretaries if they would wear a fairy crown.
Thank you.
And they were like, well, yeah. And I thought, wouldn't it be neat if during the festival or the leading up to it, people were wearing fairy-esque and demonstrating the whimsical fantasy of celebrating the arts. So I thank you. I'm going to pass this out to here as well. We don't have that many printed
Bring your
this year.
TR to the next select board meeting.
Anytime you can talk about it, it would be great.
How do you know I have one?
And
Because you're a
again,
princess.
one of the concepts was, and I don't know if any of you, some of you I'm sure remember, when Berkshire Trade and Commerce, who's that over there? Steve? Brad Johnson.
Yep.
He said to me after the fact, after he did the interview, and the ferries were on the front cover of the Berkshire Trade and Commerce. And he said, never in my life would I have imagined that a business journal would have ferries on the front cover. But the concept is bringing a new vision and encouraging and energizing our community around fantasy and family. And this is really so important. I think it has a lot of potential. And of course, Harry Potter's author,
J.K. Rowling.
thank you, mentioned that, the ferries are on Mount Greylock. And I remember driving with Phil, and he said, oh my God, school's in session. I said, what do you mean? It's not in session, it was summer. He said, look at the mountain, because J.K. Rowling said, when there's mist on the mountain, the Ilvermorny School of Wizardry and Witchcraft are in session. So it's kind of neat to let people know that when we're having a drizzly day, there's magic happening on our mountain. And it is our mountain in Adams, so I think that's really appropriate. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the one-day entertainment license for the Berkshire Mountains Ferry Festival happening at Bow Field on Saturday, June 18th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision. Next, the Mohawk Trail Woodlands Partnership. Would you like to?
No, I'm going to ask it to be tabled to our next regular meeting.
Okay. Motion to table.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous.
It's payback.
That's right.
Trying to take out John.
So Jay, we have one caller this evening,
Yeah, that'll be Eamon.
okay? And Donna is in the audience if we have any questions.
As is Crystal.
And Crystal also is here too, great. Okay, next on the agenda is the fiscal year 2023 annual town meeting warrant review and approval. The Board of Selectmen did approve the fiscal year 2023 budget recently. The town meeting warrant was open for any public input. And did we receive any citizens' input? And that was already closed, but we received no citizens' input. So the articles for the annual town meeting have been set. The board will review these this evening, and we will vote to send them on to the Finance Committee, who will then make their recommendations to these articles, and after that, it will head on to town meeting. So what I plan to do, as I think I've done in the past, I have a list of the annual articles, and similar to what we do in the town meeting, I'm just going to read each article, and if anyone wants to hold to discuss or ask questions, we can hold that. And if not, we'll just continue on, and then at the end, we'll vote in the ones there was no questions or comment, and then we will deal with the ones that were held for discussion. Okay, the first article. To choose all other town officers not previously chosen by ballot. And if you'd like to hold that, just please stay hold. Article 2, to hear the reports of the Board of Selectmen and other town officers and act thereon. Article 3, to hear the reports of any committee and act thereon. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to fix the salary and compensation of all elected officers of the town in accordance with the provisions of Section 108 of Chapter 41 of the General Laws as amended, and to see if any of said salaries and compensation shall be increased or take any other action in relation thereto.
I'd like to hold that.
Joe would like to hold that. So those were the annual articles, 1 through 4. Number 5, operating omnibus article. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate from available funds a sum or sums of money as may be necessary to defray the ordinary expenses of the town for the fiscal period beginning July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, or take any other action in relation thereto. Okay? The next set of articles are the omnibus articles. To see if the town will vote to, Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate from available funds a sum or sums of money as may be necessary for the purchase, rebuilding, and/or installation of certain departmental equipment, for the contracting for certain services, to pay interest and loans maturing during this period, for the repair, restructuring, and/or construction of streets, roadways, sidewalks, sewers, guardrails, retaining walls, buildings and/or bridges within the town. Further, to authorize the trade-in of any presently owned equipment toward the purchase price thereof, or take any other action in relation thereto. Okay, 6 is good. Article 7, capital infrastructure and equipment outlay for free cash. I think I will hold from reading the words. The title should be fine since we've all reviewed these. Article 7 is good. Next are our regional school assessment articles. Article 8 is for the Hoosic Valley Regional School District. And Article 9 is for the Northern Berkshire Vocational Regional School District. Good on both of those. Transfers to special funds, Article 10. To see if the town will vote to appropriate from available funds a sum of money to be used to lower the tax rate or take any action. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds a sum of money to be added to the stabilization fund or take any other action in relation hereto. This article will transfer the balance of the reserve fund, currently $62,000, to the stabilization fund. Article 12. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate from available funds a sum of money to provide for extraordinary and/or unforeseen expenditures to be known as the reserve fund account, transfer from which may be made from time to time only by the Finance Committee, or take any other action in relation thereto. This is an annual item that allows the town the flexibility to meet operational difficulties through the Finance Committee and will eliminate the expense of calling a special town meeting. Requested, as usual, $175,000. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate from available funds a sum of money to pay for unpaid bills of current or prior fiscal years or take any other action in relation thereto. At this time, there are no outstanding bills. Good there. Next are the annual authorization articles. Article 14. To see if the town will vote to authorize this Board of Selectmen to apply for and receive funds from the Community Development Block Grant Program under the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, or take any other action in relation thereto. This article will allow the town to apply for and expand community development block grants. 15, to see if the town will vote to authorize its Board of Selectmen to apply for and receive funds from the United States Department of Agriculture under the Community Facilities Grant Program, or to take any other action in relation thereto. This article will allow the town to apply for and expend community facilities grants. 16, to see if the town will vote to accept certain perpetual care funds that were received during the period January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2021, for the care and maintenance of cemetery lots. Such funds are in the custody of the town treasurer, or to take any action in relation thereto. This article will allow the town to accept the $7,200 deposited with the town for the care and maintenance of cemetery lots. 17, see if the town will vote to authorize the town treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow in the event of revenue shortfall, to allow the treasurer to borrow via revenue anticipation notes, tax anticipation notes, federal aid anticipation notes, grant anticipation notes, and state aid anticipation notes. In an event not to exceed an anticipated revenue shortfall or take any action in relation thereto, the law requires that the town annually grant the authority to the town treasurer. Article 18, authorize revolving fund spending limits. To see if the town will vote pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, to establish limitations on expenditures from revolving funds established through Chapter 50 of the general bylaws entitled revolving funds as follows, or take any action in relation thereto. Article 19, amend compensation plan. To see if the town will vote to amend the compensation plan as established by Section 10-5 of the Town of Adams Code of Laws, or take any other action in relation thereto. There's only 26 articles, we're getting there. Article 20. This is a bylaw amendment to see if the town will vote to amend Section 125-35, licensed marijuana establishments of the Adams zoning bylaws to read as follows, or take any other action in relation thereto. Good with that? Okay, now we have the remaining, well, we have one miscellaneous article, the Article 21, Quaker Meeting House, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $5,000 from the Quaker Meeting House Fund for the purpose of inspecting sills and/or performing minor repairs, or to take any action relative thereto.
I'd like to just hold that one.
Joe holds that one. Okay, now we have the special articles. Those are the remaining articles. Economic Development Fund. To see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Economic Development Fund $80,000 to be used for fiscal year 2023 to hire a consultant for the Greylock Glen Foundation, who will be responsible for establishing the foundation and fundraising from the private sector, and to maintain the Community Development Special Projects Manager to work on a variety of critical development projects, or to take any other action in relation thereto. Article 23, accept provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53, F and a half. To see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of Chapter 44, Section 53, F and a half of the Massachusetts General Laws, establishing sanitary sewer service operations as an enterprise fund effective fiscal year 2024. Actual date July 1st, 2023, or to take any other action relative thereto. Land acquisition, Article 24 out of 26. To see if the town will authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire through negotiation a parcel of land along Gould Road containing approximately 1.2 acres of land, identified by the Town of Adams Assessor Records as Map 218, Parcel 3, and more particularly described in the Northern Berkshire Registry of Deeds in Book 747, page,
We'll fix that.
fix that please, there's a certain page number, I imagine,
Yep.
for the purchase price of $100,000. Said compensation to be paid out of non-tax levy funds, including grant funds and/or funds the town receives from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, or to take any other action relative thereto. Article 25, land disposition. To see if the town will authorize the disposition of 2 parcels of land and improvements thereon known as 20 East Street, former community center, containing approximately 5.7 acres of land, identified by the Town of Adams Assessor Records as Map 116, parcels 268 and 269, and more particularly described in the Northern Berkshire Registry of Deeds in Book 646, page 290, to Mr. Robert Hinton for the sale price of $25,000. Said compensation to be paid to the Town of Adams following execution of a purchase and sale agreement and development agreement with the Board of Selectmen, or to take any other action relative thereto. And Article 26 is just a general to transact any other business that may legally come before the meeting. Thank you for your patience. Do we have a motion to approve all those that were not held?
So moved.
Okay, and I'll take a second.
I'll second.
Second by Christine. Do we have those identified?
Article 4 was held,
Hold 4.
and 21.
Okay, so I want to start again, my fault. So I'd like to approve all the articles that were not held, so that would be Article 1, 2, and 3. Article 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 25, and 26.
24 wasn't held.
We should hold that for correction.
It's just a clerical.
Okay. And we'll include 24 to approve with the page number
Page
being
added.
added from the Northern Berkshire Registry of Deeds. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve all of those?
So,
Motion by Rick. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine. Any discussion? Christine?
If I can just make a comment, I want to thank the planning board for their work to continuously, or continue to adjust the marijuana bylaw. I know that they did that in a short order of time. They're changing with the ever-changing laws that surround marijuana, so I wanted to just thank them for their work on that. I also wanted to just state, it's nice to see Article 23, the establishment of the enterprise fund for the town sanitary sewer system. I know we're a long way from where we need to be with that fund and how we will fund the wastewater treatment plant going forward, but this is a really good start, and that's been many years in the making, so that's nice to see on this list. And the other piece is the land disposition of 20 East Street. I know that the community development team has worked hard to get to that point as well. So I just wanted to thank people for their work on those items. That just shows that we're moving ahead and there's a lot of progress in the town of Adams. So good work.
Okay, anyone else who would like to comment? Okay, which one was the marijuana one?
Marijuana, oh, do you need to abstain?
Yeah,
It is number 20.
thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on approving all the articles that were not held. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The chairman will abstain from Article 20. All right, now let's go back to those two articles that were held. Article 4, I'll just read it again to remind everyone. See if the town will vote to fix the salary and compensation of all elected officers of the town in accordance with the provisions of Section 108 of Chapter 41 of the general laws as amended, and to see if any of said salaries and compensation shall be increased, or to take any other action in relation thereto. Joe?
Okay, I'm speaking specifically as a member of the Board of Selectmen, so my comments have to do with the Selectmen and no other board or category that's on Article 4. I just would like to say, I'm not sure, and please excuse me if my timetable isn't right, but there was a meeting, I'm not sure, Chairman Duval, if you were chairman at the time, and you came up and said, well, I'm going to do away with my salary for the select board. And then the following, I don't know if it was year, I'm not sure if Vice Chair Hoyt was the chairman at the time, and this came about and everybody's salaries or stipends, whatever you may want to call it, were lowered, and I admit I voted for it. But I've had a change of mind on that, and I feel being the executive board of this community and having served on this board for 10 years and never missed a meeting, regular meeting or workshop, I think that I'm deserving of more money, and I feel if I am going to get so little of, I believe, of a stipend, $300 for a year, then I would like to see other people who are salaried making good money pitch in also, and if, to give back a little to the community themselves. As I said, it's being the executive board, we oversee this whole community, and I feel that my time and service to this community is well worth more than $300, And I'm just bringing that out, and I'm not shy to say it. I don't know what other people's salaries on this board are. I know I don't have a great income stream, and every little bit would help me to help pay bills. So I'm looking at it, and that is what I'm saying, and I think other people that may come forward or on other boards that are getting, you know, such a pittance for the time they put in is deserving of more money. So take it for what it is.
Mr. Chairman, since Mr. Novak did indicate that this change did happen while I was chair, I'd like to comment. In 2020, when we were trying to make ends meet with the budget, and the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen had joint sessions on the budget, the issue of salaries across the board came up. And there was a lot of conversation about why one board makes more than another, et cetera. When we looked at how we could save money to save jobs in this town and to keep services going, we looked at all of these stipends and lowered them across the board. So we addressed what was coming out of the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen by making everybody equal. Because I believe that you raised the point that the Board of Assessors was making more money than you.
No,
And
I did not say that.
you did at the time. And so, because they were making $1,800 versus the $1,200 stipend for the Board of Selectmen. So that was lowered, and we saved about $17,000 or $18,000, which, for the budget, to make ends meet for the 2020 year. That, in the 2021 year, we did not have anybody who spoke up that this was a hardship, and we continued to keep the salaries, or the stipends, I should say, at this level. And I assume that that is the reasoning that went into this, and it did not come up in any of the 5 budget meetings that we had with the Joint Finance Committee and Board of Selectmen in the month of April. So I'm actually kind of surprised to hear it this evening.
Okay, well.
And I will also, if I can just say,
Yeah,
in 2019, when I was unemployed, I actually couldn't collect unemployment because of the stipend of the town of Adams. So it actually really affected my own personal being. And I know that that was a consideration with selectmen across the state on all of the calls that I was on in the year of 2020. Selectmen who were furloughed or laid off because of the pandemic had raised that issue. And I believe it has changed with unemployment, but it significantly impacted me. for
okay, if
small
I
amount.
may just reply to Vice Chairman Hoyt. A savings of $17,000 with the size of our budget, what kind of you're talking about employees. It doesn't make sense in a fiscal framework that $17,000 that was saved would really make a major difference. And I think people who are willing to serve should get something worth their time. Perhaps that's maybe a small reason why we don't see people running for elected positions in this community and in other places. So your argument that $17,000 in $1 million budget would really help out. So to that I say, why not high salary positions in this community feel the hurt too and put some of their money back into it? And if we could get people doing that into a fund, that would make a difference.
That was one of many cuts that was made in 2020, and you should remember you were at those meetings. And the other thing is we ended up furloughing a number of employees to save money. So it was much more than just $17,000 that was saved and cut, but that was the decision that was made at the time.
Well, you brought that up about saving positions with that money, and I
It was
didn't.
one
But
of
I'm
the-
just saying
It was one
that,
of the cuts, and I was just indicating what the savings was with this
okay.
lowering of all the
Well,
stipends.
I'm going to still continue to feel that, that I personally feel like I'm worth more than $300 a year after 10 years, not missing one meeting in 10 years. I don't think anybody on this board can say that, can they?
I don't think we have, I
Okay.
understand, Joe, where you're coming from, and if you want to I put some thought into this. I think, this did happen in a certain year where we did have to reduce the staff in town, but next year, I have no problem in looking at raising these back up to where they were. But to do this now, we would need a motion from you to change it, but next year I'd be happy to discuss getting back to where it used to be, or getting close to that for next year.
Well, I'm just gonna
Is this
hold,
your,
yes, I'm gonna just hold it at the town meeting and make my pitch to the voters of
Sure.
Adams, to the town members.
okay. Any further discussion on Article 4? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Christine, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Rick, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Okay, and the other one that was held. 21, okay. Let's go take a look at the details. Okay, Joe, you held 21.
Yep, and I didn't hold it for anything other to say, as Vice Chair commented on other, Vice Chairman Hoyt commented on other articles. I'd like to comment on that, and anything we can do to preserve the Quaker Meeting House, no matter what amount of money we put into it, it's well worth it. It's one-of-a-kind building, it's historical in nature, it brings people to our community, and I've been in that building, and to see what's going on with that building, we should work very diligently to find monies to fix the base of that building and make sure that it's around for other generations. So that was just more of a comment, Chairman Duval, than holding anything.
Okay, I agree with you. I don't think this is necessary to mention Chairman Hoyt holding or discussing, but I agree, that's a good point, and we have some volunteers this year, and I think it's a good project.
I can add a little bit more information so that everybody understands. In fiscal year '21, there was an appropriation by town meeting for $6,500. That money was not yet spent. So when you add the $5,000 being sought this year, along with the previous appropriation, the committee will have $11,500 this year to begin to execute work on it. And that'll leave an approximate balance of $5,607 in the trust. In speaking with Ginny and Eugene, they'll be seeking some outside funds as well. So it's a start. And there was also, Eamon, if you want to jump in while you're on the call, Eamon has a study that was done, and that's kind of the blueprint that's being used in order to start work on the building. I didn't want to let you get away without saying something tonight.
Yes. The Quaker Meeting House, very important building. I believe it's the building that's on the town seal, or that's what I've been told at least. So fairly crucial to the town's history. We have a very good plan from New Netherland Timber Framing, which is a historic preservation outfit out of New York. They have provided us with a very, very solid plan on what's needed to fix up the building. They've also given us a cost estimate. I think there's around $120,000 in needed repairs that we know of right off the bat, so we're slowly kind of ticking away at some of those things. There's also a little bit of additional study that's needed to look at the foundation and what might be required to eventually replace that. So we're hoping to take some of those initial steps to look at that as well. So this money and this appropriation will just, it'll keep us inching along to fix up the building. And then also, we're going to take a more serious look. The Community Development Department will look more seriously at grants this year and try to see what we can get done to get a larger chunk of money potentially this fall for the building.
Thank you, Eamon.
Yeah, thank you, Eamon, for your attention.
Okay, any further discussion from the board? And this is for Article 21. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made by Christine. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rick. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Unanimous. That concludes the board going through the articles for town meeting tomorrow. The Finance Board, a committee, has a meeting to provide their recommendations to the town administrator and his staff and the board's approval of these articles. So that will happen tomorrow, and after that, it's on to town meeting. Okay. There we go. And that is the end of new business. I believe that's it. Next are department reports. Jay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very pleased tonight to announce, I'm glad that Donna is here for it, but the town is receiving $2.9 million in federal dollars for water infrastructure improvements to support tourism in Berkshire County, as the press release from the Department of Commerce states. This specifically will fund the Phase 2, if you look at it in phases, of the required potable drinking water system work at the Glen. We've been waiting for this. This essentially almost funds, let's say 99% of all the funds that we need to finally build out what the master vision is up at the Glen. So Donna, congratulations for your work on it. This was a labor-intensive grant application. It involved all of our state elected officials as well as our 3 federal elected officials, so we're pleased to do that. It does require local share. We'll work out those kinks as we go, but essentially we can breathe a little easier knowing that we have the money to finally complete the infrastructure work up there. On other news tonight, Deb will hate me for this, but I am going to announce that our longtime admin assistant over there, she's smiling, she figured I was going to probably do it, is going to be leaving us effective June 3rd, so we've got one more meeting to go with her, but I thought it was just appropriate to let everybody know tonight so they had some time to wish her well. She's moving on to bigger and better things, so she'll be with us for another 2 weeks, but June 3rd will be her last day, so she'll hear it for a while, but thank you, Deb. 2.5 weeks. Or it'll feel like 4.
Thank you, Deb.
Deb's position has been posted. It's on our webpage. There's still a few other positions available with the town as well. We still need to fill a position at wastewater treatment plant, system mechanic. Sarah's still looking for per diem van drivers, and we have a part-time admin assistant position available in the assessor's office as well, so please look at that. Getting back very quickly to the Greylock Glen Outdoor Center, we're attempting to arrange to have Congressman Neal and the governor here in order to do that. We're thinking right now that they can sync their schedules up for sometime in July. We don't anticipate a formal groundbreaking, that is actually construction work, until sometime probably in late June at this point. That's still on track, Donna, for that? So that's where we are with that, but we are moving ahead with the project. And then lastly, I believe the Firehouse Cafe is almost ready to open. There's been some buzz about Firehouse Cafe, so it'll be great to see another small business on Park Street begin to open. And I just wanted to say, Gail, thank you for everything that you folks do around town. It just seems to really synergize with all these small businesses. It's exciting times. That's all I've got for tonight.
Okay, any questions for Jay?
Well, I'd just like to make a comment. I'm certainly going to miss Deb. I've never seen a more dedicated worker than Deb. She's always accommodating to anything that I asked of her. She does just an excellent job, and you can always replace a person, but I think it's going to be difficult to replace someone of Deb's caliber who gave it her all under really difficult conditions. So thank you very much for all you've done, and I wish you the very best in your future. You deserve to get away from something where your hours are so odd, and and just get to a normal type of life where it's 8 to 4 and not worry about all the nuances that go along with being an administrative assistant in a town hall. So God bless you. Yeah.
Anything else for Jay? Okay, Attorney St. John.
Thank you. I received the decision from the arbitrator in the Foster versus Board of Health matter The arbitrator ruled in favor of the Board of Health and the code enforcement officer. I spoke with Sean Walsh of the ABCC regarding the issuance of a seasonal license, and I provided that information from that telephone call to the licensing subcommittee. I provided one of the selectmen with a legal opinion concerning the means for filling a vacancy on a board. I reviewed the town meeting warrant, and I reviewed an application for a transfer of an all-alcoholic beverages license.
Any questions for Attorney St. John?
Yes, I have a
Go.
question. I was going to ask it, and I don't know what selectmen wanted a legal opinion about concerning the means of filling a vacancy, but I certainly have a problem when it comes to certain boards with write-ins. And the one I'm alluding to is the Board of Health. We only had 2 candidates on it, and we had a write-in candidate. And her name is Jess Wilson. I don't know who she is. I don't know her background, but I think a board like that, I think a write-in candidate just doesn't seem right for that type of board. At least that's my opinion. I can see on the Parks Commission and other things, but the Board of Health plays a very instrumental role in any community, and a write-in candidate for the Board of Health, I think, at least I feel personally, should be looked at whether that's a legitimate write-in position.
And Joe, it was me, I asked the question at the
Okay.
May 4th meeting, and town council actually provided the opinion to me and copied you and the rest of the board on the response. He's just reporting out that it was.
Well, I
included here.
read my email very well, and I didn't really get one, and I
thought
can
it
tell
went
you
to the.
that.
I thought you copied the whole board.
I'd have to check and see,
Okay.
for sure. I
It
thought
was
I
the
did.
day after. But I asked in an open meeting.
Yeah.
Anything else for town council? Subcommittee liaison reports, Joe?
I have nothing.
Rick?
Nothing.
Tomorrow night, we have our our BRPC regular meeting. Christine?
Nothing for subcommittee.
Announcements and go to the order. Joe?
Yep, I'd like to say personally that the tit and tat that we had last week, Chairman Duval, doesn't help the community whatsoever.
I agree with that.
And I'd just like to say, though, that when I got home, what really bothered me was your use of the word democracy. And within the framework of a democracy, from the corner I sit in, it doesn't seem or feel like a democracy, at least to me. And within the construct of a democracy is freedom of speech and expression. So when I say something, I'm allowed to say it. If you disagree, which you had all the right to, it's good. But I don't want to get involved in that because it's not healthy for the community, and just importantly, it isn't healthy for me. And my tack now is I'm taking my spiritual slant. Each time I come to a meeting, I say a prayer to St. Teresa for humility, because that's what it's going to take for me to be able to stay on this board for 3 more years, to bring my humility into my soul and purvey it that way. So I just wanted to say that and clear the air.
Sure, could you hold up for a second? So just to make sure, I think he can say a prayer at a select board's meeting.
I'm not saying a prayer, no, I just say it before I come in. No, I'm not
Oh,
saying,
on your own. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I don't, now you can't put church and state together, but I can certainly say one as I
Started reading some
come
of
up the
the,
driveway.
Started reading some of the background on that. But Joe, you or anybody else who I believe acts out of line is going to be, I'm going to address it as the chair who runs these meetings, and I believe you were out of line, so, and I believe you're out of line this evening a few times in regards to Vice Chairman Hoyt. That's things we don't need for us to move forward. There's a lot of great things happening. We're moving forward as a team, and I hope we can continue to do that.
Okay,
And
then-
this evening, let the
Yeah.
chairman finish.
Okay.
Anytime you have wanted to speak, you have had as much time as you needed to speak. I did not cut you off. I have not cut you off in the past, but that evening, I believe it was justified. So I hope we work this way going forward. I agree. I'd like to work together, and and you've done some great things. in some areas, so I'd like to continue that to go, but the chair has runs the meeting, and I'm not going to accept anyone that's going to indicate negative personal words against any person at this table or in this room. Not going to happen. So you're free to speak, you're free to be against things that we do, you're free to speak your mind, but no personal name-calling type of discussions will be had here, as long as I'm chair of this board. And I believe that's my right, so it's going to continue that way.
Yeah, well, I'd also like to bring back freedom of speech. What do you think I did wrong when I had mentioned Vice Chairman Hoyt? Because we were on the articles, and she didn't hold anything, but she commented on some. So I just said that, and I said, I'm just going to comment on the Quaker Meeting House. Has Vice Chairman Hoyt commented on the other ones? What was wrong with that? I mean, there's a little click in this select board. Yeah,
Okay,
well, put me out of order, okay.
No, not out of order at all. I think now we're finally starting to get somewhere. That one of the reasons you have a problem here is you think there's some kind of a clique, which be glad to talk about anytime. We're at a public meeting, let's hear, so, and you won't say anything, and you won't talk to the town administrator, you won't talk to me, never hear from you, town administrator never sees you, you never visit. So if you're not going to work with us and discuss things with us and say we got a clique, then that's, it's unfortunate. So if you want to talk more about the clique, let's talk about the clique. But I don't hear anything from you. Say there's a clique here, then the meeting ends. So you don't say anything more about it. So let's hear it. What's your issue?
Well, my issue is 10 years on the board, and I've never been chairman.
Mm-hmm.
It seems each time the board is reorganized, it's like an orchestrated thing. Now, that's the way I feel, so I can say it. You can deny it, but I feel that, so I've got my freedom of speech and expression. I think things are orchestrated before they get here.
And they are, I can
right.
guarantee you they are not.
Okay.
And the town administrator opens a meeting, asks for those who, nominations for chair, and a nomination is made, no other nominations are made, and the vote is made. That is what I said last meeting is democracy. That's the way it works. You get a nomination, you have a vote, and you have a chair. Comes over to me, I ask for nominations. I get a nomination for vice chair. Well, you have one. Okay. So then we have the vote on the vice chair. The vote is made. Where's the clique involved with that? There's no discussions prior to this meeting in regards to who's what. It doesn't matter to me if I'm chair or not, to be honest with you. But there's no clique, there's nothing set up, and you just say stuff like that and you walk away giving people the impression that there's something happening here, which there isn't. And I'm glad to talk about anything you want to talk about, just like we just did, and we'll walk through it, and there's nothing going on, as you would state, before you leave the room real quick. So if you want to bring something up, feel free to meet with the town administrator, town council, myself. We're glad to meet with you anytime to discuss any concerns that you have, try to work through them, and we'll be able to deal with them at the regular meeting, anytime. So I'll put that out to you, that anytime you want to meet with any of the three of us, be happy to meet with you and discuss any concerns that you may have. All three of us would do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
For that invitation.
I look forward to working together. Okay, where did I leave off? I believe we're under announcements and go to the order. And Rick, I want to make sure I didn't miss you. I have none. Do you, Christine?
I have 3 items. The town administrator mentioned that the Firehouse Cafe is about to open. We will have a ribbon cutting for the Firehouse Cafe next Thursday, May 26th at 3:30 p.m. So I do invite the public to attend. I have invited the Board of Selectmen to attend, and I hope that many of you can. I also wanted to mention, because this is our last televised meeting before Memorial Day, that the Memorial Day Parade is Monday, May 30th, 10 a.m. We did approve the route a couple of weeks ago, but it'll kick off at the corner of Valley and Columbia Street. And hopefully it's a beautiful day. And then the last item I wanted to mention, today the state announced a number of grants that will be coming to Berkshire County in the amount of $386,000. that will be spread throughout Berkshire County. This has gone to the Regional Economic Development Organization. Full disclosure, that's One Berkshire, whom I work for. It's why I have the information. But of that money, I can report here in the town of Adams, there will be 2 startup businesses that will be funded, or at least started, for this summer. There is a grant to help with some downtown signage. There's a few folks working on that. And there is up to 5 businesses here in Adams that will be getting about $1,000 each for facade work for their businesses. And applications for that went out last week and closed, but I know that there are 5 businesses, so all good stuff. But it's a lot of money coming to Berkshire County from the state for economic development.
Okay, Howard, anything?
I just want to acknowledge Deb's work, and I'm grateful for everything you've done to help these meetings go smoothly with notes and everything, so thank you very much.
We still have you for one more meeting, right? June 1st. Okay, anything else from the board?
Yes,
Yes,
Chairman
sir.
Duval, I didn't, I wasn't finished with, you moved on to
Go
Rick.
ahead.
One thing I'd like to do is, we see small businesses coming, and going, on Park Street, they're there for a while, and I think until we get our buildings set and the downtown becomes vibrant, Ena Moore is going to really be an anchor to our downtown. We have to do something about the gentleman next door. I don't know what we can do because it's a private business, but that building over there is a key building, and he's been working on that for 13 years. There's not one person that's ever been in that building, and he touts, he's got signs in there now, he's an award winner from some Kuhn Award from Preservation, and you look it up and it's just, you vote, and if you get a lot of votes, you're in the running. And I don't know what we can do, but I'm personally getting tired of it. And I've said that in numerous meetings. We have to get something done with that building. People driving through our community for 13 years or walking our downtown, they go by that building and they just think, well, what's going on there? I mean, I have so many people ask me about what's the future of that building, and I can't say anything because I don't know. And, until our downtown becomes vibrant and when the Glen goes, there's going to be a lot of people coming to our community. And to go down to a downtown with one of the key buildings on our street just in that condition, and it just comes to the point where it really bothers me a lot. And I wanted to bring that out. And I had one question for Chairman Duval. I saw that the budget came out for the Berkshire Regional Planning, the monies came out, and I was wondering what $2,500 from the Alliance Food Safety Program assessment is. What is that?
Okay, I'll take that as an action.
Okay?
I will get back to you.
Because I was kind of confused, because I saw some communities had it, and I'm not sure what an Alliance Food Safety Program assessment means and what is done.
Yeah,
I'm sure it has to do with, of course, food safety and perhaps restaurants or wherever food is served, but I was just kind of wondering about that.
Sure. In the past, a few years ago, there was an organization that would poll all the, communities in Berkshire County to be able to collectively be able to work together to provide a price, work on a price for food, food stuff. And that has grown now into, we took that over, because the organization that was doing it, I'm not sure who that was, they decided they couldn't do it. We had help from North Adams, and we were able to take that on, the VRPC, and now we've gotten into even more with DPW type road purchasing, tar for roads and things, all going together as a stronger group to be able to get a better price on purchasing options. So it's spreading it to DPW area, it's spreading the food area, it's a conglomerate type thing. and the school district does it already. They have a whole set of communities that the Hoosic Valley Group, when I was there, we used to work with a bunch to get a better price. So that's what that is a group of communities working together to get a good price.
Okay,
Okay?
yep, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Rick, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Christine, any other discussion? Hearing none, this meeting has adjourned.